Everybody, welcome to Scrapcraft and Stitchery. I am going to clear a little space on my desk today. I have been trying to clean up after my projects and doing a fairly good job of it, and this is me cleaning up after my projects, right? I cleaned up and then I got back to playing a little bit. So I'm just going to clean off a space, and I'm going to tell you about this great idea that I have. I think it's a great idea. As I clean, the cats are helping to make sure this space stays nice and not organized. So the idea that I have, and you guys can bear with me, and maybe you think I'm crazy, and maybe I am. I'm not sure. So I was watching another YouTube channel, and it was, the easiest junk journal ever. And this was on Treasure Books, and she makes fabulous, beautiful journals. Very, very nice. And she had a really interesting way to make these journals. And so I really, really want to try out this method for making a journal. I haven't tried it before, but I've seen methods like it, and I kind of understand what she's doing. I'm going to go about it in a slightly different way from her. I'm not going to start with like really beautiful pages. So I have 6 signatures that I've already made, and these have 11 pieces of copy paper, and this was taken, they've already been printed on. And so these are just some stuff that I've rescued from the recycle bin and pulled out. I've been saving this up for years, and I found a box of it surprisingly while I was cleaning, and I was like, oh, maybe we can get rid of this. So all of these pages, somewhere on them, have some sort of printing on them. So I'm going to start with these signatures, and I'm going to finish the book. If you don't know, I just took 11 sheets for each signature. So each one of these has 11 sheets. I folded them in half. I have tied them with a pamphlet stitch binding, which you can find instructions for online. I'm not going to go over that. I can basically tell you just poke 3 holes, one in the center, one about an inch in from the top and the bottom. You take a needle and thread, you go through the center, you come out, you go through the top, you come back in to the middle of this, you go down to the bottom of this, you go out through all of these pages. Then you come back to the middle, you go back into the middle, you bring it through, and then you tie a square knot incorporating the middle of this where, so I've done that. I have 11 pages in each of these. I have 6 signatures. Okay. My idea here is to take these 6 signatures, make a book. Basically, we're just going to glue the front and the back pages together. And we will have a junk journal that's made out of reused copy paper. And I think I'm going to put like a decorative, fun, pretty cover to begin with. But you could start with just a very basic cover, depending on how much you want to do. The spine of this book will be covered with some fabric. I've already picked out this fabric. I have not picked out what I'm going to do with the rest of the cover. I might switch this out. We'll see once I decide what I want to do with the cover. But come along with me, and the idea then is that we can take this challenge together and take this book and start to fill in the pages and see if we can make something beautiful out of something that's totally and completely just a piece of recycling. This is my recycling project, and let's get started with this, and I'll tell you why I find this so just really exciting. So, this all goes back to when I was 20 and I had a small child, and I was, a Navy wife. I was a new Navy wife, and we did not have a lot of money or anything. And I got this book on bookbinding, and I think I've talked about this before because it sounds very familiar. And it was so beautiful, and there's these beautiful artistic hand-bound books, and I so wanted to do this, and I just felt like I couldn't afford all of the expensive equipment because they were saying, it was walking you through the steps of what you were doing. And I mean, they made it sound like you had to have like, only it's like fairly expensive equipment to do this. And I was really just taken aback, and I didn't feel like I could do it. And then after many years, and you know, as you grow up and you go along in life can be very kind to you. And so as I go along, you know, I started scrapbooking, and I have collected at this point in my life a lifetime's worth of scrapbooking materials, which I now am not using for this, even though I could. Beautiful papers and things of that nature. And here I am, and I'm finding myself going back to that 20-year-old girl who just felt like she couldn't make books because she didn't have the resources to do it. And so I have since learned that, in my wisdom of decades later, here I am making books with just things that have come into my life, and I find so much joy in doing this. And it's just so much more of a challenge. It's a challenge. It's kind of fun, and I want to show you and everybody that, hey, look, you don't have to have all the best super supplies. I mean, you need a glue stick and some paper that you pulled out of the recycling bin, and that's going to allow you to be able to play and to make books and to have fun. And that did not go exactly, and I think it's going to be all right. Hopefully, in the end of things, we'll see. We will see what happens. So basically is what I'm doing is you want to glue each of these signatures together, right? And the beautiful part of this is they're already sewn together. There's other ways to attach them. You can watch treasure books if you want to find other ways to attach them. I just use the pamphlet stitch because I feel like that's easy enough. It holds everything together well. I think it's a good technique to learn, and it's not hard if you're just doing one pamphlet. If you're doing like 6 pamphlets into the spine of a book, yeah, that 6th one is probably going to be a little tricky. But basically what we're doing here, and I'll explain it like she did, was that I'm just going to put glue, and I'm going to use glue stick, and I want to glue everywhere but here. And this is to give the book, so I'll glue everything together, and then I just want to line these 2 signatures up, and this is just the first and the last page of each signature, and you're going to glue that together, leaving a little bit of space here for movement. But you do want to line these up pretty well. I've done similar techniques to this before, and if you don't, then your book gets kind of wonky and doesn't sit right. But I am just going to cover this in glue stick all the way to the edges, and then you can bring these 2 pages up together. Kind of align them like so, and then you can go the rest of the way across. I just think this is a cool way. I want to see how this book works. Also, I guess you could say this is just kind of making a prototype of this, and then to see how it works. And I haven't put in, haven't lost all of my supplies doing so. If I feel like there's something I want to change, so I guess that's the other way to look at this. You can look at this as like a practice round. Okay, I'm just looking to see if there's any like really personal information, and I don't think there is on there. Oops. Ooh. Let's see if we can do this. I think we can. It went all the way to the edge of that. I think that's kind of the danger, right? Of putting your information, of filming on Facebook and using on YouTube, and using your copy papers that are reused. I hope that you guys will stick around and come back and see while I play in this journal that we're making, and see what you think, because I'm super excited about these kinds of projects. I just think it's so wonderful, and it's very freeing and relaxing. The other thing I'm trying to do, I like challenging myself to kind of break out of my comfort zone, what you usually see. And kind of take this to the next level. So maybe we'll make this be something of a modern day scrapbook and not get too cutesy or vintagey, but still leave plenty of room to kind of play around with like different things, because I'm kind of, I don't know, like lately I've been feeling like there's a lot of like vintage scrapbooking stuff available for people, and I know that sometimes people are looking for other ideas, and so maybe I would like to kind of try and give some ideas for things that aren't super vintagey. And it is a little hard sometimes because there is a lot available, and maybe that's just because of the algorithms, and that's kind of what I got started looking for, you know, and so I kind of got sucked into that way. This is going together really super quick and easy so far, but I will say I'd already, like, I just was sitting and we were watching TV at night, me and my partner, and I pulled out this box that I had found that was full of papers. I had way more than I needed to do this in there. So that helped me to just have that. And then I was just watching TV, folding papers in half. So the fact that I have all these signatures and all I have to do is glue them together is kind of making this super easy. But this project is not that hard. I mean, you know, I spent an hour, maybe, probably 15 minutes was probably more like it. It felt like an hour when you're like folding all these pages. But it went quickly while I was, you know, watching my favorite show with my sweetie. And like line this up before we stick this on there too much. It's a little bit more difficult because we're not at the same height now with these two, because this one's sitting on top of 5 others. But you know, there you go. It's not terrible. We got it. Okay, just pay a little bit of attention, and I think this is going to be great. You could just use blank, buy a pack of paper, if you don't have ready access to, you know, if you haven't been storing your papers waiting for the perfect project for, you know, 4 or 5 years, like I have, you could just use copy paper. You could use a lot of different things. I thought about in that box too was an envelope, or not an envelope, a menu from, and I thought about including that somewhere in here, and I didn't, because I wanted to keep things consistent for this. But you could certainly use lots of different papers and paper sizes in these signatures too. I would just make sure that the one on the outside are all the same size. And you could also maybe, if you wanted, use a piece of cardstock for the outside ones, and that would make it a little bit harder or a little bit more sturdy between these. But I think this is going to be fine if we flip to the pages. These do lay really nice. If I fill this up with stuff, I want to see what happens. I would really love to just film and film and film this until I fill this book, which is a thing I might do and show you because I think it would be fun. But it's going to take years. So I do hope that, you know, I am here in years and that I'm still doing this and working on this. I think that's great. That is how this hobby works, I think. So I have this fabric from my fabric drawer. Most of the fabric from my fabric drawer came from, there's this great shop where I live, and they have a craft exchange, and it is absolutely fabulous. And you go and you pay $10 and you can go in, and people have just donated items for the craft exchange, and you go in and then you get to shop for your $10 and take anything away. And it goes over a Saturday and a Sunday, and they do it 4 times a year. And sometimes I've been, and it's absolutely fabulous, and sometimes I've been and it's been a little slim pickings, but still I'm not that picky. So anyway, so this is where most of my fabric came from, and I have some really awesome fabrics, and this fabric is just kind of maybe a quilting fabric, and I did a really terrible job of cutting that there. And this will become the binding of this book. Okay, and I cannot cut straight to save my life, and I should just get my rotary cutter out here and let it do it for me. So this is going to get covered up on the front and the back. And you basically just are going to make a spine for this book by doing this. And I want it to be kind of the same in the front and the back. And then we're going to cover this with a cover. Don't you worry. And like I said, I have not decided. I'm going to try and find something that'll kind of match with this, which I have not done yet. I did pull this fabric out and I said I'll use this and I shall use something, but I think I am going to make something pretty for this cover. I think that that's what I'm going to do, because I want this to be a really pretty journal, and I want it to be just the signatures are starting with this idea of being maybe not very pretty, but we're going to cover it up and we're going to make something wonderful anyway. So I think at this point you can kind of push this down onto here. Fabulous. I do think we want to leave a little bit, she said, and I don't remember. Leave a gap here where you're not putting the glue down, because you want this to have some movement, right? And you don't want it to get like stuck down. But then we're gonna go and cover the rest of this, I think is what we're going to do. And that'll be very pretty. You could sew this. That would be very nice to kind of sew along here. Okay, so I'm going to leave about a finger's worth of space, and I'm just going to put glue the rest of the way, leaving this space here along the spine, right along the spine where there's no glue. And then I'm going to make this relatively tight. All right. Okay. Have you guys made this? Did you see this video and did you make one? I'm curious to know, because I know that is a very popular channel. Okay. And will you try this? Okay. There is that, and that is the spine of this book. And so far so good. Let's figure out what we want to do about this cover. And what I have been using for covers is just I have over here some envelopes that I got in the mail, and these make fantastic covers. They're not too thick. You could glue two of these together if you wanted to make a little bit thicker cover. We don't need to cover the spine of this, so I think this is going to be fine for this, and then I'll cut another piece out of this. These should be, I mean, we could cut this to 8.5 and just cover the top of this, and that'll be probably perfect, and then leave it a little bit over this. But we also don't need this entire 5.5 inches, so we can probably go with something that's like, if we do go you can either have it line up exactly or not, but the thing is because these signatures aren't cut down and they're all kind of overlapping, so you need to cover that, but we can make up for it on the other side because we'll have a little bit of space over here, so that's fine. I might just cut this to like 5 inches and then line it up with the edge of the book, like really where the edge of the book is, and then we'll do 8.5 tall. That's where we're going to cut this. Okay. Little bit, tiny bit of figuring stuff out here, but it's not too bad because you have leeway on the width of the book, and then the height of the book is, I think, just where you really want to have it be. 8.5 exactly. Okay. So we have Melon here today, kind of hanging out with us. His name is Walter Melon. He's an adorable kitten that we found in our backyard. He just kind of showed up one day. Was very feral and is now one of the sweetest cats you will ever meet. Well, I am looking here for this guy right here. And actually, do we want this or do we want... Well, we're going to use this. I did find my like quilting ruler that's see-through. Would make this a little bit easier. I should do for you guys at some point. Really and truly a video about like what I think you really need to have to make a book, to really do this. I think that there are some supplies that you should really have. An awl is, I would say you should get one only because I think that they're fairly inexpensive at this point, because you can buy a book binding kit on Amazon that it comes with a needle and an awl, and it'll come with a selection of waxed linen threads, and you can get this for like, I mean, I bought mine for under $10, and that was a couple of years ago, but I think that it'd be very, very worthwhile to do that. The reason I'm turning it this way is so that I can get at least one of these to line up with the mark down here, which there is a mark down there. I don't think you can see it on the camera, but it is there. I'm putting the ruler all the way down there to line it up at the 1/2 inch mark for 8.5 inches, which is why I didn't cut that first. So that looks a little long and thin, which should be good. I think this should match up very well with the top and bottom of our book. And it does. Great. And we'll put that there like that. I am going to cover this with something yet to be determined. This is going to be a cool book. I like it already. So for this, I think I am going to just mark it where I want to cut this, and I'll cut that off, and just mark it with a mark with this pen. If this pen was working, we could do that. Pen is not working. Sad, sad, sad. Maybe I have another pen here. You could use a pencil, whatever you happen to have. Grab it, mark it. You can also cut these with your scissors. I think it's harder to, I mean, certainly for me to get a straight line, because I have a hard time with straight lines. But again, I mean, don't let not having something stop you. That's kind of where I'm at. I mean, you need a glue stick, some string and a thread, or some string and a needle, and I mean, you're pretty set. You need a way to poke a hole in things. The easiest way is with an awl. You can get that for $10 if you shop right. But you can also just use the needle to poke holes. Maybe take a little more patience, do it one sheet at a time if you have to. I mean, seriously, nothing saying that you have to punch through all, like, 12 pages in your signature at the same time, right? You can do that 4 at a time. Okay, a box cutter is also very handy, and a little bit of like a self-healing mat. But you can use these things over and over and over again. So I'm gonna leave this thickness. You could also double them up like this and make them thicker, but I've just been using them as a single sheet. You can use a box for this if that's what you have. If you don't have these mailers, you can use a box. You can use a lot of different things. one of these is ever so slightly shorter than the other. Ever so slightly. I'm not even going to measure this. I'm just going to cut it off, eyeball it. Okay. That should make them more the same size. There you go. That's perfect. Eyeballed. Let me figure out what we want to do. You could do a collage on top of these. I think if you're going to do a collage, I would do a collage on like another piece of paper, maybe something you've stuck together like a masterboard. So it's all stuck down and then cover it. I do have some masterboard I could cover this with, but I think I'm just going to go and I'm going to go look and see what I might have that might go well with this. And I'm probably just going to find a scrapbooking paper that's either plain or some sort of a print that looks good with this. So let me go find that and I will be right back, taking this with me. Alright guys, I am magically back and I found something that I think is going to work. This was way harder than I thought it was going to be. So I went through some scrapbooking cardstock that I have, and this is a 12 by 12 sheet. And I do think that because this is like 5.5 by 8.5, 5 by 8.5, this should be plenty to cover the front and the back of this book. But look at this. Isn't this gorgeous? I pulled out a couple of different sheets that I thought I might trial, but I think that this is definitely the best one to go with this fabric, which I've already selected. That could be fun. I wasn't really sure about that. This next one is the one that I thought that might really work for a while, and this would be cool. You could put this on the front and the back again, and it would give you a different front and a back, and most of this is going to show, so that would be kind of cool. And I think it kind of, the reds play together really nicely here. And then this would be, that actually looks really good on the camera. This blue is a little more muted in person, but it's really vibrant on this, like, kind of blueberry colored. I really like it. But I don't like it as much in person. So that's out. I got 2 sheets of that because I had them. But I do think that I really like the way that this black is going to play, and the patterns are kind of the same size. And I think that the black really is really neutral with this. And the print on this is kind of the same as this. So I think this is what I'm going to go with because I just really like this. And I think it's really fun. And it'll play really nice. And I think I can cut both of the covers out of this by just cutting this in half. And then I'll cut along the top first. So I have a big long piece. I feel like that's the better choice to do. So this is 12 by 12. Yeah. So I'll cut 3 inches off the top. And that'll be 9. Okay. Let's try and cut this straight, and then I'll cut 2 6-inch pieces. And we'll cover this. We'll save this for later. Maybe we'll put a pocket or something on the front cover. I guess we could have just left that there and not moved it, but you know, what the heck. Measure twice, cut once, make sure. It's always throwing me off a little bit when we're in the middle. Okay, we'll cut that at 6. We'll cut this at 6. Line it up for my left-handedness. Sorry. Watch me line this up again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Great. We are in the right spot. I think this is going to be very pretty. And a very nice cover for our very trashy book. We should have lots of room in this book to play around and have fun. We did lose 4 pages per signature. I'm not going to do the math right now to tell you how many pages are going to be in this book, since I decided to go with some weird number like 11 pages. But we lost 2 pages for the front and back that are glued together. Okay. Oh no! I didn't leave enough. Shoot. Very bad. Very bad. Let's go see. I can go see if I have another piece of paper. Or I can just kind of go with this. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna cut this to 8. That's what I'm gonna do. Pretend like this was what I intended to do all along. Yeah, I should have tested this a little bit better. Okay. I'm just going to cut off that. This is not what I wanted. I wanted to cover these entirely, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put them on there like that and not worry about it. Paying attention to what you're doing, and I am going to fold this over the front cover. How's that for a plan? You know what I'm saying? This is a great plan. This is the fun part of doing this live and in person and filming this the first time you've done this, because you guys get to see me kind of flail around and go through a decision process where I have not decided to do the right thing. Had I done this before, I would have known that should be like a 1/2 inch. This is 8.5. That's not a 1/2 inch, because I know I cut this at 9. Unless this is not quite. This is going to be fine. This is going to be amazing. Just you wait. I want to get through both of those papers all the way. Great. Get that out of the way. All right. So the only place I'm going to fold this now is on, so I'm going to lay this on here, and then I'm going to have this one edge that will be the front and the outside edge that's on the edge. I'm going to fold that over and glue that down, and there's a reason I'm doing that. And that is basically, so if this doesn't align with the front and the back cover exactly on our signature in the front and the back, then this part will be hidden and you won't see the box there. Okay? Okay. I am going to find my bone folder, and I just had one that I found while I was cleaning. Don't know where it went now. Don't know where it went. I do have a cart over here, but turned to the wrong thing, so I can't access any of my tools. Very shit. And then shoved into the corner with boxes full of stuff. I won't go digging around for it. Okay. Alright, I should clean more and be less frustrated. So that'll go in there. It'll be perfect. when we glue this on, we'll just make sure we glue that on all the way there. It is going to have a little bit of an edge that needs to be brought over. Great. That'll be one cover. I'll just need to glue that down. Let's get this one ready to glue down as well. Okay, line that up. I'm going to score this using this. See if I can get a better fold over this edge. We are making this up as we go along here today, folks, and that is perfectly fine. It would be better if I tried these things out fully instead of doing it on video, but hey, this is how we learn, and you guys are getting the full process. Like, as I think my way through this, you can also do this, and this is what it looks like, folks. This is actually really and truly what this looks like. I'm not even joking. By the time you make the 5th one, you're going to really know what you're doing. But when you're doing the first one, there's a lot of pausing to think about, oh, what just happened? And so I am going to try and leave this in here, even though I could edit it out and make it look like, you know, oh, I meant to do that all along. To make me look good. Let's not make me look too good, right? We would hate for that to happen. So we're making the cover. I hope you guys can see where this is going. If not, I will walk you through all of the steps, and that's fine too. What is she doing? What is she doing? That is a good question. Okay, so I'm going to put this back in here. I am going to line it up at the top and the bottom. We have just a little bit of room, so that's going to have room to fold over there. It is lined up pretty well at the top and the bottom, so we shouldn't have... A little bit of that is kind of poking out. We might just fill that in with a marker. And hide it away. Okay. And there you go. That is going to be the top of this book, and it'll glued on to that front cover and give it a little bit of a hard cover. Okay. And it looks good. Looks good. So now we'll just glue this one on. Same as you please. And we have a book. It's just one evening of watching TV, one afternoon of playing around while he's at work, and it's quiet. That's why I do this while he's at work. It's because otherwise he would talk over my videos. Just put that down in there, make sure it aligns at the top and the bottom, and I'll have to put some glue in there. And we have a front and a back cover. Easy as that. So we have this beautiful journal that we have made using one piece of 12 by 12 scrapbook paper, 77 or so sheets of paper that were rescued from the recycling bin, upcycled paper, some 12 by 12 cardstock that I happened to pull out of my, lifetime supply and stash of scrapbook paper, some donated fabric here, just a small piece of donated fabric at that. And you can buy these like, you know, fat quarters or something from your quilting store. So this is going to attach to the front cover. This will attach to the back cover, and we are going to be set. So I think we want to cover this whole sheet and just attach it there. I might go back in and just glue that little bit that's hanging over down once we have this a little bit more sturdy bit to glue this to. Since that might hang over, you might want to just leave a little lip there at the front, because this might not need to go right on the front of there, because this page is farther in than the farthest page is. So we are probably going to put these covers on just slightly overhanging on that open edge, if that makes sense. And if you don't want to have glue there, then you don't want to have glue there to stick to everything and maybe ruin your finish. But we do want it to really line up at the front and the top and the bottom of the book. And here you want it to kind of overlap just a tiny little bit. You see that this page is a little bit shorter. And I'm just using glue stick. You could use Fabrifix or something else if you're finding that your glue stick isn't working. This is lovely. Then we can decorate the cover of this. Obviously, we could put a label on here. It'll be very pretty. Write your name on it. Write whatever kind of sentiment you want. It would be fun to just do in like a solid color, and you could do marker on the cover. Always think that I'm a big proponent of that, but then I never do it. This is another challenge. I love doing challenges for myself. You will see that to work outside my style a little bit, to try something new. I don't always finish these. You're probably also going to see that. You might see that with this, because this is like, I'm excited about this today. We will see just how far we get into decorating this book, because this is a lot of pages, a lot of videos to make, and I am actually really super excited to do that with you. Keep me motivated, guys. Feel free to take that upon yourselves to keep me motivated and keep me coming back. Just life gets busy sometimes, and you can't finish every project that you start. And some projects don't really need finishing. Maybe this is finished. Maybe I was just trying to make this book and see how it would look. I think we could play with it for a little bit. Right? So there you go. This is the book. And that's what it looks like. And this is how it moves. And it's a great book. It really seems like it's together. It's a little wonky here. Probably I didn't glue those two pages together too much. A little bit of practice I think will make perfect on that. I think I'm going to make this the top. That's where the fabric was a little bit more even. If I had to do this again, you know what, guys? I would probably take this fabric and fold the top over and make a little bit of a seam, possibly sew it, but there's that. I'm gonna have to work that down and make sure that those stick down. You could clamp it at this point, right? Just a couple quick clamps there and there. But this is a great book. It's a really great book. I would make this again. I probably will make this again. So reviews are in. I like it. I love it. I will make again. I I'm going to put a little bit of my liquid glue here, just because that didn't stick down as much as I would like. But we can solve that problem. That's a me problem. For sure. Get that stuck. And, I mean, these edges are down. Down. Okay. So this is great. Ready to do some things with. And I'm just going to open this up. Again, I really like to put an envelope here to hold some things. I think this would be really nice thing to add, because the cover of this is black. I have this black card. Let's go ahead. I'm gonna leave this. You could cover this with something really, really pretty. It would be very pretty to, you know, when you get a book and they have the, like, really pretty, delicate marbled papers. And so that would be a very nice paper to use on here. I think I'm just going to leave this. This is great. I mean, this looks like a book that you have purchased and are going to read. So the first thing I was thinking is, I think doing some collage on the first page, making this a title page, because I do want to cover up a lot of this kind of boring office paper that I have. It's all printed on the front and the back, and I do kind of want to, like, use up my scraps. And so I think I'm just going to make a collage right on just this first page. And I think I'm just going to start collaging some, like, things off of my desk onto here to start covering this up. And that's how I'm going to deal with this right here. Because this was kind of the thought that I had, and I like to just go with it. This is a page. As I was cleaning some things out, I found a partial copy of Charlotte's Web thrillingly at a bus stop years ago, and I picked it up, and it was already, like, in pieces when I found it, so I don't have to have any guilt about this. And actually, you've seen all the cats around. This is a piece of artwork that I made, and I just painted a cat as a first attempt to make a cat. And in the interest of filling this book up relatively quickly, I think I'm going to use this. So I just had a piece of, like, paper that I had been painting on and making different marks and using different techniques. And then one day I just decided to draw a cat on it. I'm going to tear this down 2 sides, and I'm going to use this as the front page of this book. Again, just in the interest of not using things up. And really just making this kind of a fun place to play. A little bit of playground. So what do we know? We know this is like a half an office sheet, so I know what size this is going to be, right? And I should just mark on my thing. Because this is closer to this edge and this edge. There's different ways to do this, guys. I am choosing the hardest method known to man to do this. You don't have to do that yourself. You may do things easier. But, you know, this is me, and I like to do things the really hard way. I'm just going to tear off about a ½ inch of this. And then I think it will fit in there pretty well. I probably could have torn off a little bit more. Just a little bit more to help it. Okay. We love cats, so here goes a cat. We're not great at drawing cats, but we're not half bad either. So, and this is all really just about having fun. Having fun, having fun, having fun. And not worrying too much. And enjoying the moment. And making a fun book that we can flip through. And now look, we have more scraps that we can use for other things. In it goes. In it goes. As easy as pie. Alright, we could make this into a pocket. We can make this into a tuck. Since this is the first page of this journal, I kind of like the idea of leaving a little strip here at the top and leaving this open at the top. Make sure there's nothing terribly exciting on the top of there. I like the idea of that so that this is a pocket, because we might as well start just really overstuffing this book and seeing what happens, right? So I'm going to use my liquid glue, and I am going to just make a pocket, and I don't want to cut the cat's ears off, so I'm not going to leave any kind of an indication to myself later that this is in fact a pocket, although I am going to mount it so there is just a tiny little bit. This pocket may be too big in the whole scheme of things, because it may be that things are just going to fall down into here and you're never going to be able to get them back out. But I do think that if you just take like a letter-sized piece of paper and fold it up, it will very much be accessible at the top. And that's kind of what I have in mind for this is I will probably write a letter to myself about this journal, how I made it a little bit, and what I want it to be, and kind of give it a little wish, if you will, about what I want this to be. This was just something I had sitting on my desk, and we should kind of keep going with this and see where we can go. Fingers are rubbing off onto this. We'll leave this for now. I'm going to come back to this. I will find a, unless I have something sitting here right now, I will probably find, I think I have some big envelopes that should cover most of this. And I just like the idea of covering this, putting an envelope here so that you can open it and tuck little notes or something to yourself. A lot of times that's where I put the intention for the journal. I like to do an intention for my journals. You don't have to. But I like to write a little bit of something about, like, you know, this is when I made this. This is what I'm thinking about. We should sign this and say that we made this journal on this great day in April. And I can do that on the letter when I put it in here. I want to get a little bit of color going on here. And there is some green, and this is a green metallic pen brush, and I don't know if these are working. Another thing you could do is just do that. I kind of just want to add a little bit of color along the top, and this is, you don't have to ink everything with a dauber brush. You can just use a brush marker and add a little bit of color and a little bit of something. And this is fairly messy. These markers have been here for a while and they're a little bit dry, which I'm kind of loving, honestly. It looks a little bit grunge rather than a little bit and I'm going to go ahead and just put this over the edge of this drawing too. And it's going to kind of just help it to look like it's been here longer and make it look a little bit more like it belongs. And I like that. And I think I'm just going to leave that like that. I might write the date in here. And you might not. Love this. You can add things to this too. I mean, piece of artwork that I've worked on for like a very long time at this point. Turn the page. What else have we got on the desk over here? I have been cleaning and cleaning and cleaning, and I've been working on projects, and I have a lot of stuff that I think this is like images and things, that I stuck over here, and that's from the art store or something or other. I have no idea where that came from, actually. It was a thing that I found in my pile. This is definitely from the art store that I go to that's near us. A doctor playing with a kid and a frog. I love it. Okay. That is from a book I cut up, I think. Not anybody I know. Yeah, just a lot of like images. I did have a book. I had 2 of these books, and I just cut one of them up and cut all the pictures out. And it was about a doctor. That's a very interesting picture of science-y kind of guys. Anyway, lots of pictures from this guy's life. Kind of interesting. Very cool. So I have this again. This is just, I was playing around with backgrounds and making some on some cardstock, and I'm just going to glue these things in. This is just going to be a glue book. Use up some of these things. I didn't really have anything. These are some photographs. I'll save these for something else that I just got. I don't know this person. It's not a part of my family. I got those at an antique shop. Just a lot of different collage pieces that I've collected over the years. There's a tag. I might incorporate that. See? I cleaned for a while. I don't know what this wild piece of art is, but I don't know if I want to use that right now. Not feeling that right now. But there are just a lot of different images that I got. And this might be a little bit too much. Maybe I want to pull a few things out of my scrap bag so that when I do start putting these things down, maybe start with a few things that are less directional, right? I have a whole bunch of copy paper. What do I have? What do I have? What do I want to use? I did play with napkins, and that was fun, but I don't know if that's what I want. I have this is great. Right now, I'm just digging through my scrap pile, and I'm looking for some cleanish things that I can put down to start to build out this background. I don't have a lot of plain scraps. I have a lot of plain scraps. I have both, not a lot, and a lot of plain scraps. So this is, I think I was going to make a book out of this. And so it's some tea-dyed paper, and then I have some scraps like this, and I have some scraps like this. And I think that incorporating some of those things first, I can really just kind of start doing some artsy collage on top of it. But I want to put something down that's fairly basic and starts to cover this, if that makes sense. Let's get it going. Let's break this page in slowly and build from there is kind of what I'm thinking. So this is kind of vintagey and antiqued, and I don't know. I mean, we might all have this. If you spilled some coffee on your, spilled some coffee on your homework. Not that I would ever do anything like that. I spill coffee all over the place. I would think I'm always going someplace and I have a travel mug and it's full of coffee, and I should know better than to stick it in my bag because I know that I'm going to spill it and it's going to leak. And I have gotten a lot better, but it has taken me so many fails with like coffee over everything, and it still happens. Because they leak. Why do I not realize that? You know what? We're going to make a white border around this because we are. I'm just going to put this down. And I'm going to put this one down in the other corner. And that is going to kind of start to make this feel a little bit covered. And then I'm going to start coming in with images pretty quickly. And I'm just going to collage this whole page. And I'm going to make a collage because I haven't made one like in a long time. And it's what I'm really feeling like when I was thinking about this, when I was folding these pages. Hello, Melon. Pouring out like a... This poor kitty. We thought he was a girl when we got him, and we named him Melon. And now he is Walter Melon, because we realized he was a boy after a couple weeks. So we fixed that. I suppose you could name a boy cat Melon, but we were thinking it was a girl, so, you know. He's a darling. He is. He is definitely not the smartest cat that we have, but he is the sweetest cat that we have. And everybody just loves him here. Just loves him to pieces. And he is very much my boyfriend's cat, in a lot of different ways. I am... I really just kind of want this. And now I'm going to put some words down. I have a lot of kind of vintagey feeling things like this dictionary paper. Put that right in the middle. After I get some images going, I'll probably pull out some washi tape. It's kind of what I'm feeling right now. Sometimes I go with these things. It depends on, like, if I'm talking about you and I'm just spitballing ideas, I may or may not follow through with them. You may have noticed if you've watched my channel at all that I do this. But I think I'm going to put that down. I kind of like these things, and I kind of like this thing. I frequently use things like this as pockets. I might tear this a little bit, and I might tear this. And add it like that and that. And I think I'm really liking the way this is coming together fairly quickly by adding things kind of to one side and the other symmetrically. I don't know. I feel like I haven't done a collage in a book for a while. I've been making a lot of master pages, and that I feel like is a little more difficult for me. And this is actually coming together really quickly. Maybe because it's a smaller size and it's directly into the book, but I don't know. I'm really enjoying how this is. Oh, tear something in half and put half on this page and then half, you know, kind of mirroring. And I think it's looking really good. I like that, the way that it's coming together. We're going to stop that, but probably not until after we put these art pieces on. And I'm just going to put that there. I don't really know exactly what is going to happen with this. I don't have a really great idea. I did just kind of want to like start collaging onto these pages and just I was very excited to do that, so I'm going with that. And I do have this pile of things that I've been not really thinking about, but I did clean them out and I did look at them. Oh, this must have been out of a Memphis book, because I see now that there is a restaurant. So yes, this is the art store that I go to, so I thought it was a flyer or something for them, but it was obviously something that I got out of a magazine. And that's a fun thing to do at night too. I should make a list of things you can do for your art journal that you're not doing while you're actively art journaling. Like I said, I mean, 2 days ago I folded all the signatures and now they're the part of this book. And so I just did that while I was watching TV, because I like to do something while I'm watching TV. I don't like to just sit there. I like to be doing something. And that's another great thing, is to get a pair of scissors or your tape and a magazine and just rip images out. And then when you go to do your journaling, you have like a whole file full of images that, or maybe you'll find the image that you want to use and it brings you back to your desk, or you just leave them in a pile there in the corner and ignore them until it's time, and then you're like, oh yeah, I have all these cool things that I can do, and just play with. A lot of people like to do things that are very themey, and that's okay too. I'm just doing a hodgepodge of things that I've had for a very long time, right? Kind of want to cover a few little bits. I've done a lot of art journals, and art books, and so I feel like that's kind of what I'm drawing on here, is all of that, rather than really junk journaling. This is really kind of more like an art journal. I usually make those out of something a little bit. I like to do mixed media and add watercolor, and I don't like doing this on copy paper because everything gets really super wrinkly. I think I'm going to put this there. I might... So now that I have most of this covered, I'm going to just kind of dig through and see if there's some images that really kind of speak to me. I really liked this, so I'll probably put that on there somewhere. This would be not Here and Now. That is definitely from the like 70s or something. This is great. I have all these images and they are just fantastic. I also have these things that I could use, but I'll probably save those for later because I don't feel like they really go with what I'm trying to do. I may have these images from this book, kind of like this class photo. It's very military, but then the background is really interesting too. This guy really liked frogs, I think. I really like this, but I don't know. It's got a poem on the back. There you go. All the things you could possibly ever want in one. There's this piece of color, which kind of looks good with that. I'm going to put that back behind there. Could even put this like that. If you were braver than me. Maybe ground that with that somehow. And you can spend as much or as little time on this as you really, you know, care to do. I think I'm going to leave this and I'll write this on here and leave that as a journaling space. Could cut this out a little bit better. That seems like a bit much, but I kind of like this leg kind of coming out of here. So here's what I'm going to do, not use my good scissors. See if I can find my other scissors. They're not my good scissors, they're my sewing scissors, so I'm not going to cut paper with those. Oh dear. Fussy cutting already in here. Totally worth it. This is not that bad. I might have to run down and find some coffee. Okay, you can tell when I'm really concentrating because I kind of stopped talking. And what kind of things do I really concentrate about? Oh my gosh, no, look at this. It's a face. We could use this for a paper doll, a paper doll. I like the idea of just having these legs kind of stepping out from this edge of the paper. I don't know why, that just really kind of amuses me. Oh my gosh. This is a little tiny postcard. It's so cute. Okay. That's amazing. I'm not going to use this today. I was going to throw this away and I might still, but I might leave it over there. I really like these things and I like them together, and we might put those someplace else. I kind of like this on this page because of the black and the white and the red. But I think also that it's a little bit much. Let's see. I think we can kind of make this from what we have so far and just put the rest of these things to the side. I think we have enough elements. That this looks good. I do need something here still. This guy, that is right. I'm going to put that there because I need something to cover that. Corner. I am going to leave this corner a little bit showing, and that's fine. I do like that. Maybe just like that. There needs to be something kind of more in the middle. In the middle of here. We need something here. What could it be? This big flower. I think that might do it. That might do it. And I did say that we could add some washi tape and that would kind of tie these things maybe together a little bit. I do love how there's so many of the same colors. You see this green kind of pulling in around and around and around. That covers up most of that art. Could make this. That's very cool. I I put some washi tape on here, have that be a flip out, and then you can see that underneath there. So I kind of like that. I could put some decoration on here of some sort if we can find something that would go. Kind of like the idea of covering up these legs. I'm going to put these legs down because I'm pretty set on having those there. I think is what this page is possibly really missing. Is having really and truly like a focal point at this point, because we do just have the collage going on. We've built up the collage. We have a lot of different elements going in the collage. But there's not really anything here that's going to tie these things, wire all these things here together, or anything like that. That is a little bit too busy. If we were really looking to bulk this up at the beginning of this, we could put that there and make this into a flip out. Really kind of center it on here. We could do something like that. I was thinking about putting it so that it was just another element in the collage, and having it be kind of pushed back into that by just being taking up space and putting all that greenery and color and pulling out the colors from the green and tying it together. But I don't think it's big enough to make like an actual statement about this and give it some sort of a finished feeling. There's not a lot of balance over here. I think that we need more. Okay. Put that there. And then I wouldn't feel like I have to keep that same picture in that corner, because I feel like that's making me like keep coming back and being like, I need to have something covering this corner. I don't want to have this corner just be blank. So I think putting something in there right now is going to help me to kind of come and have something less. Oh my gosh. Life is hard sometimes. You know what I'm saying? I need to go find some coffee. That'll make things better. I just saw this lurking over there in the corner. And I mean, how fun is that? I think this came out of like an O magazine, and I think this is what I'm talking about. Like, I want a big thing that's kind of like, pow, in your face, this is a thing. Do all the work for me. Make this page. And that's too big for that page. You can do it on the next page. And it would take up the whole thing. And it would definitely... I had somewhere at one point a huge amount of things. I do just really love this like group of scientists sitting at lunch. It's very kind of like bang. Okay, that looks much better layered on like that. And I like the smaller picture than the bigger picture. And that's going to be a lot more balanced visually wise, and I think this is going in a very good direction. And I just kind of need to put a picture here, and I have no idea what I would journal on this, because these are not like elements really of my life. I really don't know. I am going to leave this, and I am going to make it a flip out using some washi tape. I might do something else like that here, because I did have that other little card, which I think works really well with the black and white elements on this that are already here. And so maybe make another journaling spot here out of this. Even though it's kind of big, I could frame that on there with something else. Could be very fun. I love that that's a little postcard. I'm really starting to like this. I do think it needs a little bit of something. That's more of that green. We have the green here. Right now we have the green here. We have the green here. There's more green under there. But if we're going to cover it up mostly with that, then I think that we have 1, 2, 3 places that have that green. And I think that that looks really good. I'm going to put this in the fold of this. And I think I'm going to call this pretty much done. I may put this on here like this. And I think that I'm going to do this, and I think I'm going to call this done. I'm going to find some washi tape that I can like attach this with. The other thing I might do is use some of this and just make like a little spine that attaches that, because I think I like that. And it matches this pretty well, but I actually think I have some black and white washi tape that'll look good. And not overwhelm anything. I'm going to put this down, and I'm going to keep this card. I didn't think I was going to, but I think I'm going to, and I'm going to tack this down. This is like a manila envelope style thing, and I like it. and it's going in there, and that's what's gonna happen. Yep. I think we're done. And then I'm gonna finish this, and I'm gonna go find something to eat and have some coffee because I left my coffee downstairs. Guys, it's a terrible thing. I wouldn't gonna call this. This isn't even really. This is very much kind of a glue down whatever's on my desk kind of a day, and it makes sense because I just cleaned up and found all these things, and I am gonna say that after doing this, I am not gonna have any less scraps than I had before. Although maybe I do. It doesn't feel like it. It feels like I have just as many scraps as I started out with, maybe more. So that just means I'm gonna have to keep doing this for a long time to come, which should make me fairly happy, right? Scrap craft and stitchery. Here we go. I'm gonna leave this kind of hanging over the side of this card. So like that, but I am gonna glue that on there to give it kind of a layered feeling. This is a postcard, so it's a little bit stiff. I glued that down, so that's an element. It is just glued on there very unceremoniously. This is going to be a fun page to play with nonetheless. Washi tape, washi tape, washi tape. That is very thick washi tape, as it turns out. Okay, so I'm gonna make I'm gonna make this a extra kind of add-in page. I'm gonna glue these elements down first, just so that I don't lose them. And I know where they want to go. I've made the decision. They're going where they're going. So I'm going to put these down. This corner was very plain, even though I'd already put down. So I just keep layering it up until it's really where I want it to be. There's a lot of elements going on. Some of them very messy. This like practice paper. Gosh, I do love Memphis, and I have lived here long enough that like I see things like this, and this is from a protest that happened in the 60s, and just very, very emotionally wrought history here in the city that I live in. Look at that cat. Look at that guy. Isn't he precious? Okay. Yes, and jealousy. Grim has been sleeping over there on the couch behind me, and now he's popped up to get his attention. So I'm going to use this, which has a slightly green tinge to it. And I was almost done here. Kimba. Yeah, he saw Melon getting a little bit of attention, and he decided to come over and be Mr. Chatty Flatty. Moving that out of the way. Crafting with cats. Do you guys do this too? Just craft around. Someday you're gonna get stuck in a book, Grim. It's fine by me. Okay. He says bring it on is what he says. I am going to just size this down and tear it down and make a little tiny hinge on the inside of here. I'm going to leave the top of this, and I think that that should be fine. And you can journal on here later when you feel like it. And by you, I mean me. Okay. I'm going to keep this as my own book, and I'm just going to share it with you as I go along. So I'm going to put this right there in that fold. I'm going to use, I really kind of feel like maybe I should find a red or possibly a green. I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure what this journal is going to be. I think it's going to be kind of an artsy collage kind of a place right now, because that's what I'm doing, artsy collage. And maybe some journaling. Maybe I will use it as a place to really kind of make notes and as a notebook. And I like to have a place to record things that seem meaningful to me. So like a quote book where I write quotes. I find that so much more meaningful than just sharing things on social media. If you like actually spend some time writing it, thinking about it. Okay. There is that. How is that? Kind of pokes up a little bit. That's fine. We did get those palm trees. The motorcyclist is a little bit behind here. That's okay. If you flip this over, we should have something in there to look at, I guess. But I do think that writing on this is the way to go. I'm just going to glue those things down in there so that they're hiding a little bit behind this, but maybe taking up a lot of the space. And there are just kind of a couple little pictures of birds. We don't really know exactly what's going on with that. I have a feeling that that might be studying bird flu or something in the 70s? 60s? Okay. Influenza viruses. Anyway. Delightful picture of people doing a little bird watching. Okay. Dr. Granoff has made it into a book finally. Okay. There you go. That is all I'm going to do with this for right now. There's still a lot of stuff that could be done with this. I could do some ink work on here, write messages to myself, and do all of that. But I like this for right now. I think that that's a very cool looking collage full of things. That I have this pocket. I will come back later and write a note to myself about how I made this book and how excited I am to fill it up and show, just kind of see how it goes as we fill this thing and see what kinds of things this book can take and what will happen to it as we fill it up. This book that we are repurposing from some copy paper. I think it's lovely. I am super excited. I might find a label and put on here for something exciting. And actually, since I have something, I am just really super into and excited about using my supplies, and this is something that I had. And I might just stick that right on the cover of here. If I see something that I think is really going to match. This is the one that I think looks the best. I do have a habit of sometimes doing things backwards in books. There we have a label. Coming along. I'm super excited about this. I think that this will be fun, and I hope you will join me. We made a journal today. We have collaged a beautiful first page. We have put an envelope style, pocket style piece of art in this already. It's beginning to kind of take shape already as just kind of a cool place to use up some supplies without worrying too much about anything. It's very much a fun place to play. Thanks for joining me at Scrapcraft and Stitchery. I am gonna go get a snack and some coffee, and I hope you will join me next time. If you like this video, if you find it useful, please be sure to like, subscribe, and share. If you want to see come play again in this journal with me, I will make a playlist as we fill this in and keep returning to this again and again and again. Thank you so much for being here with me today, and I will see you next time. Bye!